hair. I don't know what's going on with it. Hey,
Hey, how are you?
good.
Oh, I love your green.
Thank
Green is my
you.
favorite color.
Thank you. So I can tone this thing.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
So are you surviving the week?
Yeah, trying to. My allergies are kicking my butt.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hi.
Change my name. Well, I went to join a release party for someone today, and realized as I went to schedule the post that the party was yesterday and that today is Wednesday and not Tuesday.
No.
I felt like such an asshole. I'm sorry.
I thought it was Thursday all day, so.
Thank you. I'm not the only one. I have no concept of time anymore.
I don't
Time doesn't
either.
exist. Although now that you've mentioned it's Wednesday, I remember that we had to put the trash cans out tonight. So thanks for that.
It's our trash night too.
Well, it's been weird. Like I asked other people, like it feels like time is moving slow and fast at the same time. Like
Yes.
I can't keep track. Like I look at the time and like 2 hours has passed. And I'm like, it doesn't feel like that's right. And it is. But yet.
And also Saturday is May, which is weird.
How?
It makes no sense.
We're done with a whole month already. It's ridiculous.
Bunch of crazy pants.
Okay, so
the new website is awesome, by the way.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I like it so far. You know, I wish it had just a little bit more customization, but for the price and you know the ease of use, I'm like, we'll deal with it. We can make it work.
Thank you for helping me get the link today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it really was weird. I couldn't.
That's so weird.
It did not like that email when I tried.
Well, what's crazy is I registered with it and then it was fine.
Yeah. One of those things.
Haunted technology.
All right, so I'm going to get started to share my screen. So welcome everyone. I'll keep my eye open for other folks that may join in, but we are going to be recording for those that are unable to attend. There's a couple of folks who are across the pond that this is like really late for them. So where is my, oh, there it is. Exempt. And I'm going to pull up the chat too on my side, just so I can see for those who are kind of shy. Okay, so I can see that here. Okay, thumbs up, people can see my screen. Awesome. Okay, so first, you know, you want to do, we can do like a quick round of introductions, just to see how you found us, and what you like most about what you learn in your writing journey, just real quick. So I'll start first. Excuse me. So my name is Karma Kelly. I am the founder of the Inclusive Romance Project. And what it is it's just a series of things that I've just been doing to see how people can build like a community around the romance community. Like, so we have a Slack community where new authors, seasoned authors, wherever you want to start and you just want to find a place of like-minded folks to discuss writing romance, to vent, to find support. Our group is there. And from there, also wanted to do an internship project program as well, because we had a lot of folks who are very new to the genre and wanting to get started. Some of them are wanting to get to a point where they want to make the decision to query and want to, you know, find an agent. And all of that can be extremely daunting. especially when you're doing it all by yourself. And so having someone who can help guide you, learn from some of their journey and some of their pitfalls and mistakes can help us, like, bring up the next generation of authors for us. So that's me. Avery, you go first. Calling you out.
And my computer is being like crazy, so I apologize. I'm Avery Flynn. I did this last year, and my mentee was Jen Tren, and she's amazing. And she was great to work with, and I had so much fun working with her. And I actually learned quite a bit from her as she learned from me. So it was a great, back and forth of a relationship. It'd been a while since I'd been a newbie author putting out, relatively newer books. So, or a small number of books. So it was good to sort of readjust my perspective on things a little bit. So I definitely learned quite a bit. And it was a really great experience. I write mainly contemporary romance. I am jumping into paranormal rom-coms. That will be out next year. So that's going to be really fun. And yeah, that's basically me.
Welcome.
Yeah. So we'll pass on. And right below me is Jessica in the line.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah, I like that. So when you go next, then you call on someone else to go after you.
Me, Kala? There's Jess Michaels or Jess Kala?
Sorry.
Oh, there's
Jess
two.
Kala. Sorry.
That's me. I'm so happy to be here. I found the group because somebody retweeted something from the Twitter and it said the last day to apply to be a mentor. So I love the idea of the group and everything, and I'm happy to be here. I've mentored for Pitch Wars for 2 years and Women's Fiction Writers Association, and I love mentoring. I love beta reading. I think I lean more towards editing than I even do for writing. I've had an agent. I haven't traditionally published. I don't have an agent now. I have small press published and self-published, so I feel like I have sort of a plethora of experience that could help. And I currently intern for an agent, so I see a lot of submissions and things like that. So I was hoping I could help out the group a little, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right.
How about Jess Michaels? I see her under Avery.
All the Jesses just in a row. There's not many of us, so it's pretty exciting. So I'm Jess Michaels. I write historical romance. I was traditionally published, small press published, and I'm completely indie published now. I also have been mentoring, I guess, on some level for my entire career. So I used to run the Passionate Pen website, which, if you're an old like me, was back in the back day before there was really indie publishing the way that it exists now, with the list of publishers and agents and all different kinds of writing advice. And now I do a podcast called Journeys of Romance, where I talk to other romance authors about their process and their craft and publishing and all sorts, whatever comes up. So I always think it's a good thing to share our information and help each other out. So that's what I'm really interested in doing. And thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And I will just go down. The next person that hasn't is Melanie Green for me. So.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Melanie Green, and I am a contemporary romance author, and I'm indie pretty much always. I still sometimes think of myself as a newer writer, and then I'm like, "What, girl? You've had 10 books out. You're fine. You're." And I've done a little bit of mentoring. Just when I worked on. I'm the president of the Contemporary Romance RWA chapter, and I've started a mentor program there. So I've only done a bit of mentoring through that, and I really enjoy it and want to do some more. And I like the way this is structured a lot, so I'm excited to get to be a part of it. And the next person I see is J.R. Hart. So it's your turn.
Hi, I am JR, and I actually found out about this project on Twitter. I had been kind of looking for an opportunity to mentor and also maybe receive some mentorship from others in the writing community. So when I saw it, it seemed like the perfect opportunity to join in. And I am indie published with 9 Star Press. I have a couple of things coming out this year, and I have a really strong marketing background, so hopefully I can connect with some other people here.
Excellent. Glad to have you. Who's next? You want to call on someone? HR? There's Sky and there's Fortune that's left. I think you're muted. It was okay. I can choose Sky for you. I see you're sitting there.
Thanks, Karma.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm Sky. I write queer romance, both contemporary and sci-fi. I was first published with 9 Star Press. I've had 2 books out since then, self-published, and I have another one coming out this fall. I do not have official mentoring experience, but I think to date I have beta read for like 130 authors in the past couple of years. I don't have a full-time job. That's how that works. And I've also built up with some other folks a couple of writing discords focused on really community building and sharing knowledge. And last year I didn't feel like it would have made any sense for me to be a mentor, but now that I have enough experience in self-publishing, I feel like I could probably help someone who's a couple of steps behind me on the path, trying to get that book finished, trying to figure out what to do with it when it's done, how to build those networks, especially among other authors for mutual support so that you can, get more visibility for your work and help other people. So that's why I'm here.
And Fortune.
Hi, everyone. So I guess I'm the only one I'm a debut author with Thule Publishing. I have a series coming out next year. So small, I guess, and I've got a little bit in the mix with Harlequin at the moment, so nothing like that I can announce or official, but that's where I am. The same as Sky, I felt like I was really new last year, but a lot has happened in the last year, and I feel like I have some knowledge to share. Before I started writing full time, I owned a yoga school and I taught people how to become yoga teachers. So I do have that background in mentoring, even though it's not in writing specifically. Yeah, that's it. Oh, I found IRP last year when Karma started it, and I did apply for to be mentoree last year, but I didn't make it. So I'm really excited to kind of start mentoring this year.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well, thanks for everyone for taking the time out and putting your name in the hat to participate in this. There's a lot of value in it. We had a lot of mentees that walked away last year getting a new perspective on the industry and looking at their goals, and also learning too, like having a mentorship also teaches you more about setting reasonable goals and reasonable objectives and having someone to collaborate with. All of those things are useful skills in writing. So there's no knowledge that is not, that is useless in this whole process. So, let me do. Okay. So let me get started. So here's what we're going to cover today is basically, why are we doing this? What's in it for everyone? What is the role of the mentor and what it isn't? It's good to kind of understand those boundaries and those responsibilities so you can do your best to be a mentor. Also, just giving you an understanding of how the program is going to work, and how we're going to work into the platform that we have set up this year. And then give you some tips on how you can get the most out of this relationship. There have been folks from last year that still maintained a relationship with their mentor even now, still wanted to stay connected. So how you can get the most out of it now, and even probably later on as your 6-month commitment is over. And then I want to make sure that there's time for questions and discussions of anything we haven't already covered. Feel free to ask questions throughout the process. I don't like just talking at everyone all the time. And so usually when people say hold the questions to the end, you end up forgetting what the question was. So I'd rather you just kind of ask it and it comes to, and we can answer it there. Okay, so for what is a mentorship? So what I like to say is it is a symbiotic relationship where there is learning and development on both sides. With one individual has more vast experience in someone who wants to learn. That doesn't mean that it's one-sided. There is always something that both parties can learn from each other, whether it's a new skill that maybe the mentee has that you did not pick up, whether it's a skill that you have that they meant up. So there is a lot to be gained between both parties. And then a good working mentor relationship is mentee driven. So they're the one that's going to drive the discussion. They're going to drive the goals and the objectives. They're going to come to you and tell you, like, these are what my goals are for this mentorship, and this is what I would like to achieve. And then you will help guide them on how to achieve those goals. Like, for instance, someone says, I want to get my, I want to be able to set up a query letter and synopsis, and get that polished to where I can submit. Then you'll be able to help them break down of like, okay, well, let's look at your query letter. Like, what are some of the things that you have put together already? Let's look at a draft, and you'll be able to work together on making some reasonable goals and help guide them through that. So as your role, continue to provide guidance, and your guidance can be from your experience through your craft knowledge in the field, anything around your publishing knowledge, and they will look for you for insight, which will help them move forward in their challenges. So the benefits of it too is networking skills. Romancelandia is huge, and it didn't get huge by everyone just kind of minding their own business, right? Good way for you to connect, to meet someone new, to get fresh perspectives, to also just grow and develop your interpersonal communication skills. All that work to collaborate, we're definitely going to work that muscle. So what can I expect? So what we'll do is in the platform, so I've asked the team and the mentors to, once you have access into the mentor pitch platform, to create your skill sets. So I'll give you a walkthrough on that for those that haven't had a chance to do it, but listing your areas of expertise, so you can set up your skill sets, and anything from particular craft areas to publishing experience. And then when we have the mentees come in, they will do the same. They will come in and they will create their profile. They will talk about areas that they're good at, and also areas that they're not so great at, that they're looking to develop. And the system will help us highlight those things for compatibility of, if you're strong in this area, they're weaker in that area, then they can be a potential match. So that's how we're going to be able to help work that. And then also, the mentors and mentees, we're going to have a virtual, what did I call it? I did like a kind of a virtual meetup, pretty much, where it's open. You don't have to be there, but I want to set up a couple of times throughout that week, probably maybe 2 sessions where we're just going to be open and just like hang out. I'm going to post some crazy romance questions and just see what people have to discuss. And it's going to be a gas. Don't worry about it. So we'll do that so people can kind of get to know each other. We're in a virtual space, so sometimes it feels a little intimidating. So my goal is to kind of open it up a little bit so people can feel a little bit free, can ask some questions, can have some fun, kind of, break some of the ice to where people don't feel as intimidated to kind of reach out and get to know everyone. And during that time, I'll have the system set up 2 ways. So I want to always leave it open that while you are meeting with folks in the platform and you happen to run across someone that you really like, you really kind of vibe with, I want to leave it open for you to be able to request if you want to mentor that person, and I'll show you how you can reach out. They will be able to also do the same to you. If they have a good rapport with you, they've talked with you, they see your skill set and they would really like to work with you, they'll be able to send a request to say that if you would want to mentor them. You're not obligated to say yes if you don't think that you're going to be a match. You can actually spend time, if you see a request, to maybe schedule and get to know that person a little bit more. Like if they reach out to you, they would like to connect with you, being a mentor. If you have some other questions that you want to learn, and I'll show you those kind of questions that you might want to ask, then you can make the commitment of whether or not you want to be matched with them. But if not, I'll also be on the back end looking through the system to find potential matches and match those folks. So if there is something that like the stars align and you found that special someone, I don't want to get in the way of that. You can make that connection on your own. But in the as we start getting closer to June 1st, I am going to be like, keep moving ahead to find potential matches for everybody. So if you don't find that special someone right off the bat, don't worry. I'll be able to help make that match for you. Any questions? Okay. So yeah, so when the mentoring pair is made, the first thing that I would want everyone to do is set up a meeting with that individual. And a couple of things need to happen first and foremost is, one, definitely work out a communication plan of, they may not necessarily have all of their goals and objectives ironed out. I'm going to ask them that they come ready with some, but it might not be fully baked, and that's okay. But what absolutely must happen during your first meeting is to kind of decide how you guys want to communicate going forward. That could really make or break a relationship if you guys are not aligned on, how they reach out to you if they have questions. How often do you guys want to meet for, follow-up, working that out? Like, do you want to call? Do you want to text? Do you want to shoot me an email? Just really kind of align on that. I think that is like the number one goal for your first meeting, is just deciding how you guys are going to communicate going forward for the next 6 months. And then also think about worst case scenario, right? Of like, if there's times where someone has slipped, and I'll talk about that too, like slipping in engagement. If you're noticing that your mentee is missing meetings or things like that, ask them like, how would you like me to address that? If I find that you're kind of, missing some meetings or missing some engagement, how would you like us to do that? And the same thing for you is like, if you notice that I'm not holding up my end of attending the meeting or being at least communicating when I can't make a meeting, how would you like to notify me? I'll share that with you. That makes a really big difference, because I will tell you 98% of the time that mentorships don't work is because of communication mishaps, every single time. So that will be definitely my most focus for you guys in the very first meeting. And then me, I will after the match is made, I'll check in with you guys at least within 2 weeks, just to kind of see how things are going. And I'll do that through the platform. I'll be able to see everybody's mentorship connections and see when you guys have meetings, and just get a check-in on how you guys are doing. And then I'll do that for 30-day. I'll also check in, and then 90-day, I'll check in. You don't necessarily have to wait for me to check in at all. If there's something that is going on, or you just want to give feedback, or you want to look, or you need some advice on how to coach, I'll be on that platform. You can always message me and we can get something together for us to talk through it. Yes, Avery?
I had a quick question on the communicating with your mentee and the meetings. One thing I noticed last year was Jen and I had some trouble kind of figuring out what would work, and she got super nervous. At least that was my interpretation of it from what she said about reaching out. And I, as soon as she texted, we would obviously communicate and we had our meetings, but there was a lot of hesitance on her part to reach out if she needed me. Like she said repeatedly, I feel really bad asking this. And I'm like, it's what I'm here for. So is there like something that you would recommend when we have that initial meeting about, hey, here's how many times we should meet, should we set up, hey, we should talk once a week or every 2 weeks or whatever it may be? Or should you just leave that completely fluid and up to the mentee? Because that's what I did last year, and I just didn't know how well that worked out based on personality.
That's a really great call out. I will tell you, even last year, and just mentorship in general, the mentee always feels intimidated of reaching out with the expectation for the mentor. It's kind of a weird power dynamic there, even though I try to convince both parties that they're equals. It just feels that way because they realize that you all are very busy, and then they just don't want to mess up their relationship. So they get really hesitant to that. I actually like that idea, Avery, of if you're getting a sense of that from your mentee, you could try taking the reins on that, and it may work better in your favor because it takes the fear from them of feeling like, do I reach out? Like, is it okay if I reach out? So maybe when you have that meeting of saying, these are the times that work for me, do they work for you? And then say like, I'll ownership of like putting that on the schedule. And then say, if something like just because I'm putting it on the schedule, if something is to change, I will be sure to give you a notice ahead of time. If something changes for you, just please reach out to me and message me to let me know that you can't make it. And then, just keep that line of communication open. But yeah, you're right. I didn't hear that from Jim, but I'm not surprised. But there were a number of mentees too, who were like, I haven't heard back from my mentor in like a couple of weeks. I'm like, what? And it's like, I'm afraid to reach out to see if was like, no, you're supposed to, don't feel bad about reaching out. Like this is a partnership. So yeah. Good question. Okay, so our code of conduct, we have one from IRP, and the same thing applies for our mentorship program. It is linked in our platform. If you're not an IRP member, you probably haven't seen it before, so please make sure that you read through it. Basically, we're creating a safe environment, just like I do in the IRP Slack community. We believe in creating a safe environment for everyone, all races, gender identities, gender expressions, sexual orientations, life experiences. We welcome everyone because happy ever afters are for everybody to write. Okay, and so the link is here, and I'll send this out because it's like directly on our website for us to review the community and policies. And it has a list of like expected behavior and unacceptable behavior. I make it really easy for people to understand. But basically it just says, don't be a rude, racist, or bigoted asshole, because we don't have time for that here in this space. and then I will give you the boot. I don't think that we have that kind of mentality of folks here, but I gotta be me and make sure that I say that. So finding the right match. So I found this quote a while back, and I mentioned that the ideal experience gap is usually 5 to 10 years. So Whitney Lowe Narcisse did a really big research on mentorships and just kind of really getting down to the bottom of like why some mentorships work and why some don't. And this is kind of what she kind of came up with, is that the mentor is experienced but can still remember what it felt like to be in the mentee's shoes. So if you have more than like 10 years or so experience, and you've been, it's not that you wouldn't make a good mentor, it just means it'll be a little bit more challenging for you to remember the times where you had to struggle. So that might be a little bit challenging for those like that. But if not, if you've already been kind of close to that, kind of mindset, it won't be that big of a lift. And if you're open in that kind of realization, that is also where finding the right mentee can also help you, because it does kind of reawaken how you felt during those times of like, I remember when I had to go through that mess, like that was horrible, and so it does kind of trigger some empathy for you. So just keeping that in mind. And so here are the questions that I wanted to tell you about. So even when I'm making these matches on the back end, I don't want you to take those as sacrosanct. When you're meeting the mentee for the first time, I still want you to try to ask these questions. Because if it feels like the mentorship has to feel right, you have to feel comfortable with that individual. You have to feel like you can provide value to that individual. If you don't feel that way, then your mentorship is going to struggle. Your mentee is definitely going to feel it. Is going to affect your confidence, and then it just kind of fizzles the relationship. So when you're talking with individuals and you're considering reaching out to request a mentorship with someone, or someone's reaching out to you, just kind of ask these questions of, can I clearly be helpful to this potential mentee? Like find out like what are the clear like items that they're reaching for, what do they want to be successful at, and then think for yourself, can I provide that value to them? Is there something that they're looking for to learn that I feel confident that I can provide that for them? Be careful of imposter syndrome here, but just be realistic with yourself. Some of you do have that feeling of, oh, I don't think I can do it, but history has proven that you can. So really kind of fight that imposter syndrome there, but also just be, pragmatic with yourself. If they're asking for something like they really want to be able to stand up a newsletter and a drip campaign and just launch this whole marketing program, but you have never done that before, and you know that that is their number one objective, then you know that that's probably not going to be a worthy match. You're going to struggle trying to help them, and they're not going to feel that they're getting the support you need, and that's okay. There's other folks out there that need your help. We can find the right match for you. Can this person be open and honest with you? Are they willing to provide deep context about their problems and vulnerabilities? And will they be able to be present and share data and goals with you? You're going to need that openness. And if the individual feels incredibly guarded, that one, you'll have to fill that out, because when you're first starting out to meet someone, everyone has a little bit of that guard, which is why it's important for you to kind of make additional connections and meet with them and talk. If you still in those discussions are feeling like they're heavily guarded, and not feeling like they're comfortable to open up, that could be a signal that they might not be the right match for you. Both of you have to be very open with each other and honest about your vulnerabilities, because what your guys are going to create is a circle of trust. And that's super important for a mentorship. Whatever is being discussed in that mentorship, both parties need to feel that that stays within that mentorship. Especially in the publishing community, you're going to be talking about experiences. It may or may include like literary agents or particular publishers and things like that. You can't allow that stuff to go around floating around. You got to have a feeling of trust there. So that is one of the things that you definitely need to be able to establish when you meet with your match, is have that comfort of setting the tone that I'm going to be honest with you. And we need to have this circle of trust so we can both be open with each other. Next thing is this person prepared? And you'll get this question asked yourself, like once you get started with your mentor, your mentorship, is just keeping an eye on, are they proactive? Are they open about setting up time? Are they really opening to like, are they highly engaged? And are they just asking very specific questions? Vague questions doesn't really get us anywhere. And it's going to keep you guessing of whether or not you're giving them the right information. And you can always prompt people for that too, because we're going to have some mentees in here who have never been a part of a mentorship before. So it's very new to them too. So for those of you who have been in a mentorship program before, you probably need to work that muscle to kind of help nudge them and ask them to get more specific information for you so you can help them better. And finally, does this person give you energy? Are you excited of working with that individual? Do you feel that you're learning something from them? Do you feel like, things are expiring? Like you like, well, you know how we are when writers get together. Sometimes when you're getting together with a bunch of writers, it makes you want to write. Like before, you probably was dragging ass, and then you get together and you're like, I'm going to go write that chapter. So if you feel that way, that's always a good feeling, right? So another question to ask them, if you don't do it in the first meeting, definitely in your second meeting. And what I would say, your second meeting is probably needs to be more focused on goals and objectives. If all that you do in your first meeting is just ironing out your communication plan, good, I am okay with that. Second meeting though, which needs to happen pretty soon after that, maybe a week or so after that, is then to talk about what are the one things that you want to overcome? What are your objectives? What do you want to achieve? In fact, probably leave the first meeting with that of like, now that we've worked out this communication plan, next time we meet, please come ready with some objectives and goals that you want to hit so we can meet and discuss how we can help you achieve those. So tips for being a kick-ass mentor. Ask probing questions around their challenge. Like I said, some of them might be a little vague. They might not know how much information to give you. Just kind of probe around and help them get comfortable with you, and probably pin down exactly what they're looking for. Hold on for a minute. I got dry mouth. Ginger ale is the best. I could drink that by the gap. Okay. Provide honest, helpful, respectful feedback. Remember, honesty without tact is just cruelty. So just be yourself, but also provide usable, respectful feedback that can help them move forward. Keep content and the discussions confidential. Always discuss when you're in the meeting, in the circle of trust. It's okay to remind them of that. I know I do in most of my discussions with folks, so I'm wanting to keep things confidential. Create a schedule. So yeah, maybe during that first meeting with your communication plan, maybe y'all can get together and actually start working out that schedule, and this just set the expectation that it's not set in stone. Life happens sometimes, and just set boundaries of, if something was to happen, this is how we should approach of rescheduling or moving something around. And then, oh, Luna, sorry. Carve out, scared to shit. Carve out time to exchange goals and ideas. So when you're, you can have meetings, you can also message each other. I'll show you in there. You can message each other back and forth. You don't necessarily have to have a FaceTime meeting every single time, but it is useful. But there'll be times where you need to just kind of touch base on goals and ideas, and they might not have time for you guys to pull together a meeting. So you can message you and you can message them back and forth. Like, is this okay? I'm going this route, or hey, I'm just giving you an update. This is where I am in the project or working on my query. That's all good to go. So example of a great meeting progression. And this is after you do your, obligatory setting up communication plan and then setting up your objectives. Once you have your objectives, we can put those in the system. And then like your rest of the follow-up and meetings should go like this. They explain the challenge that they're facing, reach out and say, how are things going? What are some of the roadblocks that you're encountering? They'll share those with you. If you have encountered a similar challenge like that, it's always helpful to give them that perspective and then how you're able to maybe overcome that challenge. You might not necessarily have had that challenge before, and that's okay. Just kind of figure out, just learn from them like what they're trying to achieve, and then do your best to offer them some suggestions. Because sometimes the conditions may be different based on particular situation, right? And then you'll suggest what to replicate from your own experience that could probably help them. Or if there is some other suggestions that you have, you can leave them with that. God, Avery, am I boring you? You're just yawning.
I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I blame the fact that my husband gets up for work at 4:30 in the morning every day. So
It's okay.
and I'm old. So it's a bad combination.
I've been sleepy all day, so it's okay. So do's and I just wanted to pick on you for do's and don'ts for mentors. Okay. Don't treat it like a transaction. Everyone can know when that feels like. We probably all had experience when a communication just felt like you do this, got this, okay, great. It's a short-term relationship for some, but it could grow, right? You want to treat it as if you're still going to know this individual. You're not going to just cut ties forever with them after the 6 months. And this is an ongoing, relationship for the next 6 months. So be careful of not treating it as just as a transaction. Keep it as a people-focused relationship. Do be honest and transparent. I will say from the mentee's perspective, it is super helpful to help them break down those barriers of honesty and trust when you are vulnerable first, when you show that you have made some mistakes in the past, that you have, had some stress before, that you are actually human. It does wonders with helping break down those barriers of, I trust that I can be honest with you. Don't give out homework. I think execution is actually more important. The reason why I say don't give out homework is that it sets a level of anxiety that could probably hurt your relationship, because we all know that we're all adults, life happens, and if you give me an assignment for me to do by this date or the next time, some people may be able to execute it. Some people may not, and then they get nervous of like, now I have to show up with this to this meeting and face my mentor because I didn't do this project. So they may like weasel out of it. They may try to reschedule the meeting. They might do something, however, just to not have to deal with that anxiety of disappointing you because you set an expectation that they needed to meet right away. So I would say, instead of giving homework, I would, just focus on like one of their objectives that they have, just try to follow up and just see where they are. Like ask them to like, if we had a progress bar of the work that you're doing right now for this query letter, and like what percentage would you give it now? And they might say, okay, maybe 50%. I was like, okay. And then next time you meet, ask them about that same question again. Like, okay, so if you were like for that progress bar, you're at 50 last time we talked. Well, what kind of percentage are you having now? And they may say, maybe 65, like that's progress. Progress is progress. That's good. And then you can probably give them encouragement, like maybe next time, maybe you can shoot for 80% next time, or maybe 70% next time we meet. That kind of works a little bit better because they don't feel like they have to deliver something right away. It's a little bit more nebulous to where they don't feel like they have to get something done exactly the way they need to by the time they meet. You're just focusing on them moving to the next level. And that's really what we want. Do look for themes and organizing principles to help guide your mentee. So sometimes they may put together some of the things that they're having struggles with, but they're usually piecemeal. Sometimes you might have to just pay attention to the things that they're bringing up of like, oh, I was trying to do this, but, I kept, for some reason, like I couldn't get this, like my passive voice just seems really off or something like that. Or like, I'm just frustrated about having to rewrite this. It may be giving you kind of an underlying theme that could help them. Like maybe there's something that we need to look around your craft and, how you structure your plot. Like if they're always complaining around something around their plot or being frustrated with it or hating their book, those are kind of signs that they may need to kind of focus a little bit more on loving their characters again. And maybe they need more support around like figuring out plot bunnies. So those are some things that you can think about. And so there's an escape hatch. So I never want any party of a mentorship to feel like they are stuck in a mentorship if something is not working. So everyone who is a part of this program agrees to a no fault conclusion or a no fault termination clause. So if there is something that is just not working out, maybe you ask those 4 questions and you're starting to realize that mentee is not hitting those expectations for those. You're seeing a pattern throughout a month or so, the next 2 months, that is showing that. Before we get to that, I would love for you to reach out to me first before you pull the escape hatch, just so I can see if there's an opportunity for me to help coach or intervene in some way to smooth out the relationship or work out any of the conflicts. But if so, and you feel like strongly that this is not for you, I'm not going to fight you on it, just like I would not fight the mentee on it. If they feel it and they don't want to do it, I'm going to be able to allow them to let them go. And so there's a process in our platform where you can dissolve a mentorship, and then I will be able to take it over from there and make sure both parties are alerted by it. And what would happen if the mentor is the one that wants to exit out of the mentorship? I will be able to dissolve that, and I will look to find another potential mentor for that individual if one is available. Any questions? All right, so what's next? Log into your mentor pitch community and create your profile ASAP. I was looking and I seen a number of you have already done that. There's a bunch of you mentors in there, so you could probably reach out and like connect with each other for the time being. We won't have the mentees in there until around like May 16th. They'll start coming in. But yeah, just kind of get used to the platform, build your confidence around it. It's really easy. I'll kind of walk through a little bit before I let you go. And then from there, it's kind of off to the races. I'm going to be hovering over, just making sure that things are working well. I'll have my office hours set up there. If folks have questions or need some guidance or even having an issue with the platform, I'll be there to let you know. I'm working on seeing if I can find another co-facilitator for me in there. just so I have some backup if I'm not able to help you right away. So I'll stay tuned on that, but hopefully I have another person to help out. Okay, so I'll see if there's any other questions, and then I'll kind of walk through a little bit on the platform a bit.
I have a
Yes,
question.
just yeah.
How do we join the Slack community?
Oh, yeah. So, can I minimize this? Yes, yes, I can. So it is. So if you go to our website, here it says community and Slack community. Down here at the bottom is our registration form. And you just sign up and I'll be able to let you into our community. So yeah, we'll love you for you to hang out with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions about the expectation?
Will you remind me, sorry, just remind me of the timeline for once the mentoring is set up.
Oh yeah. So let me do. Yeah. So we've had our mentor info session today. The deadline for all the mentees to apply is May 1st. If you know anyone who is interested in applying, feel free to tap them and send them our way to this website and they can sign up. Then on, sorry, not the 16th, the 18th, then I will do this kind of workshop with the mentees, pretty much showing them around, setting expectations of what they need to be doing as a mentee with you, setting up the communication plan with you, so everyone's aligned when they start. And then I'll be able to put them in. And then throughout the week of May 21st through May 28th, then I'm going to set up some virtual meetups in our platform for people to kind of get to know each other. I might ask some questions in some of the posts to get people engaged, just so people can kind of meet. Also during that time, I'll be working on pairing people up. Then June 1st is when I'm going to let you go. Everyone should have their match and should be able to set up those meetings and get started. Cool. Okay. So I was trying to put a post together before I did this. Oh. So I was going to create a post on tips to create a welcoming mentorship. Okay. Oh, that's terrible. I'm going to work on the formatting. Okay. So this is the platform. I think everyone has access to it now. And then it'll show you the group, and this is the only group that we have. And so let me go to so here on the homepage, it'll show you everything. Any of the recent posts that I put or anyone else puts will show up here. Any of the events that we have scheduled will be on this area here. And then any of the files that are public for the whole group, I'll upload. Like I upload these slides for this training. They're already here. And also the video on the walkthrough of creating your profile. Was that helpful? Yeah, no? Okay.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay, cool.
I found it really helpful.
Good, awesome. That's what I was hoping for. So yeah, so we have that here. Be able to see all of the members. So those who have flagged themselves as mentors, those who flag themselves as mentees. You have the opportunity of flagging yourself both a mentor and a mentee, and that is also fine. And I love this. So I started seeing people like getting their stuff poked out. So I'm picking on Avery, not because she's fun to pick on. That's also true, but
And I am
I do like her I like her setup. And one of the things I wanted to call out is please put your pronouns in your profile. It helps prevent awkwardness and hesitation when folks want to engage with one another on the platform, just so they not know necessarily, how they want to address you. And, if you run into a mentee, I'll be asking them to do the same thing. But if someone does not happen to have their pronouns listed, it is totally acceptable for you to ask them, how would you like you to address them going forward? Or my pronouns are she and her. Could you please share with me your pronouns? That way, so you just know how to address them. Love this. Okay, gotcha. There's no more about me.
I'm starting out. I already looked, and when you were clicking through, I looked at Fortune's, and she put like who she's with and some platform stuff. So I'll go through later and steal everybody's ideas.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna use my example then. It's okay.
I like that idea then, because now Avery's going to steal all of everybody else's ideas, and then I can just go steal her ideas because she'll have combined them in one spot.
I'm a correlation site.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
It just passes on. I love it. So you have that, and you can set it up. And then your changes, your photo or your avatar, and then putting in your areas of expertise. I had really, really wanted these to be kind of pre-populated in here, but the system apparently they say doesn't allow it, which is a bummer. So hopefully everyone had saved their profile, their sign up on the Google form when you were applying to be a mentor. Keeping that, you just copy that from here and you're good to go. Because what it does is like it'll create these mentoring streams. So what it'll do is if I click here, I can see all the members who have that same stream, and it makes it easier for you to connect with folks. So like book formatting, these are the individuals who listed, interest in book formatting, and you can connect with them. Expertise. Okay. So let me go back here. Now that I've seen people have their calendar set up, which is better than what I did. I've not done mine. And then once you get your mentorship set up, you will see that. You'll see how many mentors and mentees, relationship that you're set up with. So this is completely up to your discretion. I've allowed the system to allow mentors to have up to 2 mentees, only because Ro's not here, but she had done that last year, and she was totally fine with it. So you are not at any means obligated to support 2 mentees. However, I did want to leave it open that if you had wanted to, it is available to you, but I cut off after that. But you'll be able to see those. So this is what I'm able to see in the mentorship details.
Hey, Karma, real quick, I have a quick question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
If we were to have multiple mentees, do you recommend keeping the streams separate or forming like a little, like almost like a little class pod so they start building out, Is there a preference there or a recommendation?
That's a good question. But I would say you probably not want to build like one work stream like that, just because unless you find 2 mentees that are very similar in their needs. And that would probably what I would advise is if you are interested in taking on more than one mentee, you would definitely want to try to aim at mentees who are looking for the same similar like skill set that you want to do. Otherwise, you probably will burn yourself out keeping together the needs of one mentee versus another. So that would be.
Yeah, I guess I was just kind of thinking, when you start building your networks, you know, within this community. It's
Yeah.
great to have one person, but if you have a couple of people, it almost feels a little bit better. So that was kind of my thinking more than anything
I
to
see.
that end. But yeah. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I know we're a little bit over time, so I just want to show this one last bit before I let you folks go. But this is what you will see when your mentorship is stood up between, so your mentor and mentee. It will show the amount of time that's remaining in the cycle. I'll set that up. It's supposed to be 6 months, but it will let you know the progression. And this is where the objectives that the mentee is going to align with you on are going to enter those here. That way they're fully visible. There's something that's easily communicated, and they'll be able to add those. And then how things are going from your perspective, like if you're looking at this from your view, how is it going? Like, you know, if you wanted to add, why don't you let me add that? Okay, this is an example, I'm sorry. But yeah, you'll be able to add the rating for the overall relationship and how that's going. And that will help me during my checkup. So the other party does not see that. I see that as the coordinator, just so I can see how everyone is seeing, how everyone is feeling about the mentorship program. If I'm seeing some drastic misalignment between how the mentee feels about the mentorship versus the mentor, then that's when I'm able to intervene and just kind of check in with you folks of like, you know, how are things going? Meetings, it records all, keeps track of all the meetings that you have and whether or not they were accepted. Keeps track of the areas that are to be developed for this mentorship that you guys align on. And here's the chat. So if you wanted to chat back and forth to each other, you can do it right here. And yeah, that's kind of the setup there.
This is so pretty and it's like a spreadsheet and I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad I was able to find something a lot better so I wouldn't have to be living in Google Sheets forever. So this is super great. Okay. So thanks for everyone. I know folks probably have to jump. So thanks for everyone attending. If you have any questions whatsoever, I am active in that platform, so you can message me there. Or if you're already a part of the Slack community, you can Slack me there. Or if you want to text me, you can text me as well. I'm available.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for everybody being a part of this.
Thank
and
you.
I'll be in touch. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, bye.